Hi, this is Charlie Mato-Toyela with another video from BlueBearFlutes.com on how to take care of your flute when you're making a flute. This, of course, is similar to one of our flute kits. It's made out of western cedar, and what I have done is I have purposely caused my track to be a little too thick. Now, for those of you who have before made your flute track too thick and thought, oh no, I should just throw this away, there's always a way to make a flute, okay? So I'll let you hear what it sounds like. Keep in mind, like I said, I purposely made the track a little too deep. And a lot of you might be thinking, well, that sounds pretty good. I'm not blowing very hard, but you can hear on the top note, you hear that airy sound? That usually is caused from the track being too deep, and you can come take a look at it and see what it looks like. And what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and fill it in with something and make some changes. So I checked it with my caliper here, and the depth of that track is about 2 millimeters, which is about 1 millimeter deeper than I normally like it to be. Of course, there are a number of ways that we can fill that area in. A lot of you have talked about using wood putty in the past, and wood putty is fine, but it's more for furniture, and that's kind of the performance that you're going to get out of it. I like it a lot, and I do use it on furniture and on other pieces of work that I do like that, but for the track area of a flute, it needs a little bit more of a delicate touch. Something my dad taught me a long time ago was how to make a filler out of sawdust and wood glue, and that would actually work. However, the wood glue doesn't dry very quickly and it takes forever, and you can mix that little bit in there and it would work. You know, definitely take a little while, but it would work and do what you need it to do. However, we have a real tendency to use this cyanacrylic glue, otherwise known as super glue, crazy glue. And I'll tell you, there's some warnings that you really need to adhere to when using super glue. This stuff is not only an irritant, but the vapors off of it, especially when it touches wood, are much worse than I think the warnings on this thing here tell you, even though it says in the instructions that you can use it for wood. Now, having said that, we use this stuff all the time, we just know how to use it. So bear in mind, this is an advanced procedure, not to be done by the faint of heart or those with allergies to super glue or any such thing. I would suggest using a different type of glue. And normally in the shop, if we had something to fill in like that, we would use the sawdust. We save containers of it of different colors of when we sand flutes specifically for this purpose of having to fill something in. However, to make it a little easier on many of you at home, you can actually use a small sliver of wood, or a piece of cardboard works wonders. If you use a cardboard or thick paper, you may actually be able to fill that track in without even having to readjust it. I'm going to use a piece of wood that's about 2 millimeters thick, and it's going to go in there and stay in there, and I'm just going to basically start over from scratch, and I'll show you where we go from there. But first, let's go ahead and use some of our cyanacrylic glue here. Turns into acrylic after it hardens. It's definitely some good stuff, but it's also a little bit on the dangerous side. Do not stick your fingers together. Oh my gosh. So watch. I like to use the lid of it to push this stuff down with, because the lid is not as prone to being stuck to super glue as any other material. Oops. Looks like we're a little uneven in there. That's okay. Let's push them down a little bit. And then I'm going to use just a dot or two to fill in this little crack over here, which eventually would be filled in with carbon and or whatever. And we got to give this guy about 5 minutes to dry, and then we'll come back and burn the track back out. Okay, so we've got it dried in there really good. And once again, the vapors that come off of super glue, when you get it touched to wood or anything that's that high in carbon, tend to be pretty rough. Even wearing goggles isn't really enough in my opinion, but I'm going to do it anyway. Having said that, the vapors coming off of super glue when you burn it is really bad. So keep in mind, I'm not telling you that you need to burn this. As a matter of fact, you're better off using the cardboard method and just even wood glue or Elmer's glue, something safe, non-toxic. And if you do that, you can fill in the track area. No worry about these vapors. Some of this is just smoke off of the wood, and some of it is a little bit on the toxic side. Having said that, a little jeweler's file comes in extremely handy. You can actually flatten your track area inside of the track with that jeweler's file. And if you remember back from one of our other quick tips video, beveling this guy in here increases the sound quality like night and day, but beveling it in is really a good idea. And now we've got that. One thing I don't like is my little excess that I've got back here is a little bit too deep, so I'm going to burn that off. And then I'm going to turn it around here. I'm going to burn down into the angle of the flute here. There we go. There we go. That doesn't look too shabby. Let's see if it plays as I think it's going to. So we've got our little bevel here going into the flute, and then we've got a major bevel coming into the sound, or rather air chamber. Please forgive me. Let's put that block on there. Yeah, I think that's going to be nice. Check it out. Uh-oh. Not deep enough. You guys get to see what a track that's not deep enough sounds like. I think we're done with the vapors now too. There we go. It's actually a little less than a millimeter deep. Right there. Millimeter is about perfect with most flutes, but a little bit less. Well, that sounds much better. Crisp and clear on that top note. Let's see what the bottom one sounds like. There we go. So that's a good flute. Like I said, really simple task to go in and fill that guy in. Once again, paper, cardboard, cardstock, you know, anything that you can find that's thin enough that makes up the distance. And of course you can use Elmer's glue, which I used for years and years and years. When finally we found that the super glue works better for our needs because we make so many flutes, if we have to fill in a little crack or a hole, it's actually the same stuff that most people use to do inlay with. And I brought some of my inlay materials. I think I've got one customer right now that had special requested something, and I'm still doing that today. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it tomorrow, but he wanted to have some turquoise inlay on his flute. And of course it costs a little extra, but we actually use cyanacrylic glue to fill in with the inlay, and that's how you get that stuff to stick inside of whatever areas that you make for it. So, you know, once again, we've taken something that was purposely damaged so I can show you what the flaws might be, and then we've made a change to it, and we've turned out to be a really nice, beautiful sounding flute here. I'll play it one more time just to make sure. And if any of you at home want to rewind this video and go back to the beginning to see what the telltale sound of a deep track is, you know, you can come back and listen to it now. Now it's one of those type of flutes that you don't want to sit down. Anyway, once again, this is Charlie Mato-Toyela signing out for BlueBearFlutes.com. Another tip on how to make Native American flutes for those of you aspiring flute makers or people who have bought our flute kits and need a little help. And I hope that you've enjoyed this video. We definitely look forward to hearing back from you again very soon. You can find us on the web, like I say, BlueBearFlutes.com. on our Facebook page is Blue Bear Arts or Blue Bear Flutes, and here, of course, on YouTube. So you guys take care, and we'll see you again really soon. I think I'm going to keep playing this guy for a minute.